and welcome to Love Island The Morning After, the only official Love Island podcast. Waking up with you today is me, Amy Hart.
And me, Indiyah Polack. Now, after a very wild episode last night, we are going to get into it. But again this morning, we have the lovely Jack Remmington.
Hello.
Good morning.
What did you think of last night's episode?
I have a lot of thoughts.
Yeah.
Some of my faves are losing their shine.
Yeah.
I feel like some of them peaked 3 or 4 episodes ago and I'm sad about it. Do you know what I
It's been a
mean?
roller
In Love
coaster.
Island, you can get dumped a hero or stay long enough to become a villain.
Yeah.
It's just the way the cookie crumbles.
Yeah,
hate to
here on
see it.
It's
planet
the
Earth.
pressure cooker of that place, you know. It does get to you. It does. It
Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
At the end of Monday night's episode, we were left with the cliffhanger of the dumping. Obviously, Shakira and Ty had to decide between Tommy and Lucy, Conor and Emma, and Harrison and Lauren of who they were going to dump. They dumped Tommy and Lucy because obviously Shakira wanted Conor for herself and wanted to keep Harrison because Harrison is one of Shakira's best friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also for Toni as well.
Yeah.
Do we think they did the right thing?
I'm speaking as if I've not seen the whole of last night's episode, okay? This is before I saw everything that happened before the
Okay.
end. I can understand where Shakira just wants to help out her friend, and then also in the same breath, Harrison is one of her best mates. And realistically, like she said, I'm not going to send someone home if they're my friends who've got a close connection. So it was a normal thing for her to do.
I think they said, didn't they, that Tommy and Lucy obviously had found what they came for. It's
Yeah.
always,
Yeah.
always the
That's
old
always a
line, the
cop-out.
old line.
Right.
They've got what they came for, so they can go and do that on the outside, whereas the others still need the Love Island experience to meet new people 3 weeks before the end. They needed to stay.
Yeah.
I thought Ty was lovely where he went, Conor and Emma, I mean,
Yeah.
do you think Shakira handled it well with Ty?
I at least rate the fact that Shakira, almost more than anybody, has just said, right, here's the situation, here's how I feel. She's right to Ty saying, yeah, just so you know, I'm going to crack on there. It can seem, I guess, a bit abrasive to some to be like, whoa, that's really abrupt. But the opposite is being snaky, going behind backs, kissing when she shouldn't, lying about it, which people do. She hasn't. I actually really rate the fact that she's just been like,
Yeah.
I'm putting all my cards on the table.
It's like she's audio describing her villa journey. Like
Yeah.
she's, as she
Almost
thinks
too much
something,
sometimes.
she like Shakira is
Yeah.
now walking to the kitchen. Shakira
Right.
has seen Conor and she thinks he's really fit.
Yeah.
And like she's now snogged Ty.
Yeah.
She's coming for Ian's job,
Yeah, she's coming for
basically.
Ian's job, basically. But I think she's had it done to her and she's seen her close friends have it done to them
Yeah.
so much, being left in the dark, not knowing like what's going on,
Yeah.
people telling two people 2 different things. I think she's just like, right, I've got to practice what I preach.
Yeah.
She's told Harrison so many times,
Yeah.
just tell Toni what's going on. So I think she's just practicing what she preaches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I rate it. I really do.
Obviously, it was a tough watch. We did see how things, unfolded towards the end of the episode. Toni did have a change of heart in the instant moment. She said that she wished that Shakira sent Harrison home. But we obviously did see by the end of the episode, she
Yeah.
didn't really mean
I
that.
don't
But
think
also,
that's true
you know,
in
it's-
her heart of hearts.
It's very
No.
easy to say that when she hadn't dumped him.
Yes.
Yeah.
If she had dumped
Yeah.
him, she'd
She
probably
would
been
have
like,
been
why did you do
devastated.
that? Why did you do that?
Yeah.
Whereas to see him still sat there, you're like, oh God.
I do understand the thing of like, you can only really get over somebody when you go no contact, right? So like the
100%.
idea of just, if he's out, maybe she'd be really devo with Shakira for a day or 2, but she's just got to crack on with whatever's happening at that point would have been Cach. But she'd have been fuming. And there's no way, even without Shakira's connection of saying that she's so close in friendship terms to Harrison, she did that for Toni.
She did it
Yeah.
for
And there's
Toni.
no world
Yeah.
in which I also love the fact that we're not even saying it's Ty's decision. This whole thing is
He had
Shakira's
no
chosen
choice.
this.
Yeah.
Oh, and Ty. Shakira and Ty as a
Yeah.
couple.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
Shakira's
It was.
decision.
It's funny how they were voted the most compatible to going to split up in the same episode. I know it was
Yeah.
over a couple of days,
Yeah.
but like, why string them along? We're on a finite time.
Mm-hmm.
As we always ask you at the end of the episode to leave some comments, and you have delivered. So we asked you who you thought was going to go. Now, you all seem to have it sussed that Tommy and Lucy were going to go home. So Tamine, XO_, she'll keep Harrison in for Toni and keep Conor for herself. So I think Tommy and Lucy will be dumped.
Spot
And that is
on,
exactly
spot
what
on.
happened.
Yeah.
There were also quite a few people that had a different outcome. So we had X Rebecca P08X.
Sounds like a password.
Yeah, very strong password.
Innit? Yeah, innit?
She said, Shakira, be a good friend and send Harrison home and save your mate's self-respect.
I do agree with that, but I think deep down she'd be a bit scared of Tony's reaction.
She defo would. Do you think in maybe episodes to come, Tony's going to sit there when she finds out maybe a few things and just thinks, oh, you know what? I wish I just had that one person who was a bit more like cutthroat with me and like...
She has been. Like,
can't force her.
I think the only thing Tony could think retrospectively is, I wish I'd listened.
I wish I'd listened.
Right.
And also stood on her own business because she said quite a few things that, you know, I thought she would have stood on in terms of like, oh, she deserves better.
Shakira has been trying hard from both sides, telling Tony but also telling Harrison as well.
Yeah, I think it's that whole like, you can take a horse to water but you can't make it drink.
Yeah.
Like it's very much so. She's blue in the face. She's done what she can.
Yeah.
She's got to make her own mistakes, and by God is she making those mistakes.
She's making those mistakes. Right, we also had at Susan Bowman 5456.
I thought you were going to say Susan Boyle then. That would have been so iconic if Susan Boyle had messaged it.
Big fan.
She said, yeah, dump Harrison, then Tony can finally move on. So we've got a lot of people in Tony's favour just sort of like, you know, out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is a situation where Tony might learn the hard way, but the heart wants what it wants, but it's not all that.
I agree, but I do think, given how much we all like Cach, I love Cach,
Yeah.
I actually feel like if Harrison had gone, Tony would have stayed with Cach, been like, oh yeah, great. And actually, I don't think she was ever in it enough for Cach.
Yeah, she
so
wouldn't
it's
have...
almost better for Cach now that he's not being strung along.
Yeah.
I think, as Emily said yesterday, they had such a short time.
Yeah.
It was that initial spark with Cach. And I don't think there's anything wrong with people bringing people back from Casa and then being like, oh, actually, it's not progressing, because if the bombshell came into the main villa, they had an initial spark and then 2 days later it was not progressing, they'd be a bit like, oh, that's fine. But I think it's that action of bringing them back.
The
and
pressure
giving
on
that
the
full,
Casa situation having to be long
It's a lot of pressure.
And I think it's also that thing of there's just not enough time. Like Tony did only spend, 2 or 3 days in Casa Amor with Cach. She did like him, but then to come back to the main villa and see someone you've spent like 3 weeks with, you cannot compare that connection. No. But one thing I really did like kind of rate what Cach said. The same way he sat there and he waited for Tony and he said, look, I understand you've got a connection, but I didn't like the whole feeling of, you know, being second choice. And I feel like he's well within his right to say that, because Tony knows what it feels like to be second choice. And now Cach is literally in the same boat. So if he doesn't stick around, I totally understand why, you know? He gave her half an arm.
Yeah.
I thought that's not very helpful. Like, which half do you want? The forearm or the bicep?
But you know what? Cach, bicep, definitely.
Big I wouldn't mind that forearm.
Open arms is
actually.
2 arms, so half an arm is a quarter. It's not much.
But it's something. It's an olive
literally
branch.
an olive branch.
Because I feel like even then he was well within his rights to be like, no arms.
100%.
No
Because
arms.
he said time and time again,
Yeah.
I don't want to be second fiddle. I think he's been so gentlemanly.
He has.
And I feel like if Tony were to watch this back, she would be embarrassed by her behaviour, because I just think she's so head over heels that she didn't really properly take it in, that he was like, yeah, but how do you think I feel being second fiddle? I just don't think she gets it, because she's so wrapped up in her world. And we've spoken about this before of like, it's like that holiday romance thing where the only thing that matters in there is their emotions to each other. Like they're not doing normal everyday jobs, so you get so involved in your own head, and it's the most important thing in the world.
I do think though, mentally, for both Lauren and Tony, this must be so hard and so scrambling that she probably isn't thinking straight
At all.
Yeah.
And same with Lauren as well. Like, Lauren's obviously showing it through like crying a lot, which is really sad to see. And then Tony's showing it a lot through being very like defensive and, you know, I don't want to talk to you.
But
Get
it
out my
means
face.
nothing
I know
when she then goes back on it. It's that whole, like, you know, if once she just said, you've got to treat me like this, I'm a princess, blah, 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 great, good for you, stand on it. She's falling off it and then standing on it again and then falling off it.
And genuinely, I do feel like if Tony did stand on business, Harrison would come around anyway, because I personally don't think he is all there with Lauren. I know they have obviously spoken about being intimate, and that's quite a big thing to do to somebody. So I feel like for Harrison to be intimate with Lauren and not really take her full feelings into consideration.
Totally.
Like, you've gone on the terrace to have a conversation with your ex after I've been so like vulnerable to you. I think it's quite
And she didn't
wild.
know about it. Lauren didn't even find out about until real time in the recoupling. So, like, of course she was going to be upset.
From award-worthy flicks to star-studded pre-love fits, get your popcorn ready. It's time to relive the most fabulous fashion moments from movie night with eBay. It seems that all that glitters is gold, with our girls Shakira, Toni and Billy Kiss, respectively stunning, and Godiva, Nancy Jajaka and Club L. I couldn't get over how gorgeous they looked. It's as if these gowns were made just for them. They were perfect for an event like this when you really want to make a statement and turn heads. The boys didn't screw up too badly either, but it was Harry and Harrison that stole the show in their Versace and Prada, mixing luxury with a laid-back villa feel. A great combination when the villa's heating up and you need to keep things cool. Looking to add some sparkle to your summer? Shop Villa Glamour with eBay, sponsors of Love Island.
Well, let's get into what Harrison is actually doing. Do we think he even really likes Toni? Or is it just sort of like he's going around in circles? He doesn't even know what he wants himself.
I think he's very, who's in front of him is who he likes. So while he's sat in the daytime and he can see Toni, he's like, oh, we had such a good thing. At night in bed with Lauren, he's like, oh, amazing. Like, let's have a great time.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's a really unique situation, obviously, living in a house with 14 other people.
Strangers as well.
Yeah, and sleeping in a communal bedroom of
Yeah.
16 people. If you slept with someone on the outside and then the next day met someone else, you'd be a bit like, okay, that's fine. But I think it's so like insular when they're in there that it is a much bigger thing.
Yeah.
And, you know, if it's in the hideaway again, maybe different, maybe when nobody can see it, but doing it while Toni slept in there as well.
Yeah.
And then to go to a whole new partner within 24 hours, do you think that's just how the cookie crumbles? Or do you think that is a bit disrespectful on Harrison's part?
I think it's a little bit of both, as in, you know what you sign up for because it's the show, right?
Yeah.
So it's not as if you are going about your work day and there are different things going on. Like I said, like this is just the pressure cooker. All it is just emotions and everything's so heightened. But yeah, he's young and he's 22, but he is an adult. We're not talking about a 16-year-old. We're talking about a man who knows what he's doing.
I mean, each their own, obviously. I do think it is quite disrespectful on Harrison's behalf because I feel like, you know, he's made it clear that this isn't maybe the first time that him and Lauren have become intimate. And from Lauren's actions, you can see that this is something that means a lot to her. She's got quite close to Harrison. You can see she's visibly more emotional. And maybe that is because being intimate with somebody is quite a big deal for her. Or naturally, when you sleep with someone, you just become quite close to them.
Yeah.
So I think it is a little bit insensitive on Harrison's part to sort of do that with Lauren and then not have, you know, the moral compass of being like, okay, let me actually pull you for a chat and let you know that my feelings aren't all there anymore and kind of leaving her in the dark and then, you know, recoupling around the fire pit. So, yeah. And I do think if this is something that Toni knew beforehand, would she have still stood up around that fire pit and chosen? Because she did make it quite clear that, you know, intimacy is something that is quite a big deal for her also. You know, she got word of other things that might have happened in the bedroom. Might not have been true, but from Toni's reactions, kind of got the vibe that if she did find out
It would have been a
intimacy was a
problem.
thing, that might have been like a no-go for her.
I can't believe that in that villa of that many people and that many people who know what have happened, that not one person has gone and told her.
But I don't think it's surprising because it's the group that are
Yeah.
kind of
It's a
happy
different-
to see her
But then
unwind.
I see, part of me is like, I would have thought that like that group, which is obviously like Helena and Harry, Megan Dejon, and
I thought
now
Conor
like
might have
Lauren.
said something when he was
Con-
like,
yeah.
ooh, in that conversation.
Especially now that he's best friends with Shakira. I thought they would have really relished in the fact that Toni was sort of losing her head a bit about like the sort of lesser acts and
then
really,
drop the
really,
bomb
and
of
really
being like,
drop the bomb of being
yeah,
like,
drive
well,
the knife
actually,
in.
do you know what actually happened?
Harrison had the opportunity. Toni sat him down on the little dinghy thing.
He's never going to
He's never going to tell her.
gonna-
But still, you're right, it is on
why,
him,
yeah, this
just
is
'cause
where
he wouldn't
things,
say it.
yeah, and this is where things get even worse because Tony's sitting there in front of him thinking that other things happened, not knowing that maybe it is sex, and he sat there and said, well, it's actually none of your business, yada, yada, yada. Sooner or later, Tony's going to find out. But I do feel like Harrison had the opportunity. I don't really feel like it's the other girls to tell Lauren's business because obviously when Helena did come back, you know, Lauren was very glad that she didn't say anything. And quite frankly, I wouldn't want other people speaking about my intimacy and, you know, talking about around the villa. So again, Harrison, my babe, you should have just said something, in my opinion.
I think it's also worth noticing how differently the situations have been handled by Harrison versus Shakira, for instance. Like, I feel like Shakira's going to get a little bit of flack for the fact that she's so direct and we feel bad for Ty. However, it's leagues apart and in my opinion so much better that she's just putting everything out there and being completely honest. There's no mixed signals versus the situation with Harrison where he'll talk in like a football analogy to the boys and then not say the right thing to Toni and then
tell
so
Lauren,
messy.
don't worry. It's like Shakira and Conor, I think it's been like done and dusted in less than 3 days.
Right.
We're on now like week 4 of Toni and Harrison with him messing her about with Helena and then sort of like let her second guess herself, then recoupling at Casa Amor, second guessing herself again and again and again. And it's like, when will this end?
Yeah.
I will say though, for Telly, as much as I love the fact that Shakira is so good with communication, if all of them this season had been like that, then we wouldn't get the 90% of the drama that we've had. So I'm kind of like little messy me in the corner with my cauldron. I'm like, thank you that they're not all as clear and good
Yeah.
communicators
Yeah.
as Shakira. But in terms of being on the receiving end of it, like, it's night and day. I would want to be
Yeah.
Ty in that situation rather than
Yeah.
these two poor girls who are just being spun around like
Yeah.
plates.
One thing that I'd like to say is Toni, obviously, a couple of weeks ago, when it was the whole Harrison, Helena, and Toni love triangle, she said, I'm removing myself. I'm done. We're over. Goodbye. And he ended it with Helena and came back. Do you think that's why she removed herself from the situation last
'Cause
night?
she thought it would happen again.
Yeah, and it did.
Well, yeah, I do feel like from what I've seen now, Toni does like to stand on business to an extent. I feel like she kind of does it as just sort of like to give the other person the ultimatum.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
she
she
loves
she
an
does know her
ultimatum.
worth,
Yeah.
but she does also know Harrison enough to know what will like draw him back in. And I feel like she's kind of waving over his head a little bit that I've known you longer. We've got this connection. You know, this was just a Casa Amor fling. Like, kind of like put your thinking cap on.
Yeah.
But also, Harrison is going to do what he wants, and he's shown you that time and time again.
Yeah.
And you letting him back is just letting him know that he can do
And
that.
even if he stays with Toni now and like sacks off Lauren, there'll be someone else, whether it's
Yeah.
in the villa or out of
Agreed.
the villa. His behaviour is repetitive.
Couldn't agree more. And this is my concern now, watching particularly that last episode. My thought is, whether he ends up with Lauren or Toni in the villa, I don't see now a future for him with either of them solely because of his actions in there. I actually could have seen, like, historically seen a situation with Toni, maybe because I did just adore everything that Toni did. But I just feel like, even where you're saying about the ultimatum thing now, it's all well and good for her having the ultimatum and knowing her self-worth. But in so doing, people like Cach become collateral, and she's
Yeah, and
not
that's
allowing
not
him
good.
to feel his self-worth. And I
Yeah.
don't think
Yeah.
she's respected him that much in the situation.
That is really, really a fair point. And we have spoken about Cach a lot, but, you know, seeing how he reacted at the end of that episode, it was really tough. I mean, finding out that, you know, your other person is not picking you for the first time
Right.
around the fire pit, hearing they had a conversation on the terrace,
Yeah.
it's pretty heavy.
And
It's pretty
handling it
heavy.
really well. It was
Yeah.
also lovely to hear from Emily and Gio when we'd finished rapping yesterday that they were just like, he's such a nice bloke. Like, it's just
Yeah.
nice, you know, when you feel like you've got a good feeling about
Yeah.
someone and they're like, he is just so lovely.
Yeah,
It's nice to hear, but it makes me feel even more empathetic
Yeah.
towards him because of the situation that he's
100%.
in.
Toni has told him, I think, 3 times that she is done. And she says it and she's a strong woman and we're all like, you go, girl. And then she goes back to him.
Yeah.
Why do you think she keeps doing it? And why do you think she keeps going back, more importantly?
I think obviously she keeps going back because she does like Harrison. But I think she's obviously trying to like make him also see her worth. So it's like she's going to keep telling him, I deserve better. I know my self-worth. You need to not treat me like this. In almost to try and like convince Harrison to like treat her the way she knows she's supposed to be treated, because she doesn't want any other guy to treat her that way, apart from Harrison.
I mean, every time she does that, do you think it's like a reduced sticker?
100%.
And the price
you
is
know?
going
Couldn't agree
down.
more.
The worst
And
like
it's just
going
quarter
down.
in and
When you
quarter
keep
in.
saying something and doing the opposite, it will lose its value.
Yeah.
And I think that's something she needs to sort of realise, because I think by now, Harrison knows her worth, but if she doesn't stand on business, neither will he.
No.
So-
See, I think it's a head versus heart situation.
Yeah,
I think
true,
she knows
too.
that it's never going to work.
Yeah.
And when her head is engaged, she's like, no, I'm taking myself out of this. You're an idiot. I deserve better. I know my worth. Da, da, da.
Yeah.
And then once that's happened, like the dust settles, her heart's like, oh, but I do
I
really,
do
really
like
And we've all
you.
been in that
I agree.
situation before.
We have,
And
we
you know, I
have.
think again, a head versus heart situation was when she said to Shakira, you know, I wish you just dumped him. That's her head. I wish you
Yeah.
dumped him because then it wouldn't be my issue. You would have made the decision on my behalf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what we all want in life, is other people to make hard
Hard
decisions,
decisions,
for us.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I
what we all
agree.
want in life.
Yeah.
And then her heart is like, but I do really like him.
Yeah. She needs that full separation, and it obviously hasn't happened because they're
Yeah.
still in there. I just wish that she'd not gone about it in a way that feels like she's kind of punching down at Lauren a little bit. That's what makes me feel uncomfortable, because I think she's fab, and I'm hoping that this is just like a little wobble rather than in my head just like veering off what I would be like, yes, 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 go for it. I wonder if, particularly because Lauren is newer and now knowing that most people haven't got intimate, or at least the people that she's close to have said that they haven't, I wonder how much in her head she kind of thinks, oh, well, then maybe we're further along in our situation. So kind of reads into that more as
Yeah.
that equating to like strength of relationship.
100%,
Because particularly
yeah.
after that chat with the girls on the terrace where Helena was like, no, we've not. And Meg was, who knows what,
Yeah.
like whether Meg was
Yeah.
keeping things secret or not. But if I were Lauren in that situation, would perhaps come away from that and be like, oh, wow, okay. Like even these people who I see as really strong couples haven't been intimate in the same way that I have. And I wonder whether then that just throws her mind so much, because then obviously she's got Toni saying, he's messing with us both. And Lauren wants to be like, no, we're absolutely fine. I'm fine with Harrison.
Yeah.
And then look what happens.
Yeah. Obviously, in some aspects, Lauren does feel quite close to Harrison because of what they've done. And also, you know, Harrison is saying things online like, oh, I can see you with my girlfriend and stuff like that. So, hey. It's a tough one.
It's a tough one, bless her. Let's hope fewer tears.
Hopefully she leans on the girls and things will be up for her soon.
Agreed.
And she did get a new partner in the recoupling.
She did?
Yes. So let's talk about that recoupling. It was one that was full of shocks.
Yes.
So just to reiterate, before the recoupling, Harrison said that he wanted Toni and he asked Harry to help him facilitate a chat on the terrace.
Also, like, what's with the boys doing that? Just go and call her.
Right.
We've never seen Harry and Toni have a chat in the whole 6 weeks. Harry's like, Toni, can I just pull you for a chat on the terrace?
This really pivotal moment that's about to happen.
It was when he opened the door and then Toni saw him, the horror on her face. She was like, oh, God.
But at least they actually sat on the chair this time and not on the floor.
Yeah,
so we're moving on up.
So this just set the scene for the recoupling. Harrison said, you know, I want to just put this thought into your head. And then we were left to wonder what was going to happen.
Yeah.
Before it got to them, we had Conor and Shakira. Now, Shakira's speech, like even Meg said, she's great with her words.
I love Shakira.
We learnt new information that he's the shoulder to cry on. Talking to him is easy as breathing. I mean, people are going to be
That's
picking
like a
up
lyric.
some
No, that is
lines.
like wedding vows.
Honestly.
Like, what do you mean? It's like, I can't breathe without you.
Yeah, it's like a Joni Mitchell song.
Yeah, if Shakira gets to the end and we get her final vows,
Whoa.
and Connor's will be like, yeah, no, it was really nice to meet you.
Yeah,
You, like-
well, you were girl number 10 and that's something very special to me.
Yeah. 10's actually my lucky number. So the speech was great. Do we see good things for those two?
I really do. I think, again, maybe I'm biased because I just think Shakira's handled stuff so well. So I'm very, very firmly team Shakira. And I think, like we've said before, Amy, like it's often doesn't have to be a couple as a reason why someone wins. Sometimes the public just love one person so much that they then become the winners. I'm really hopeful that 10th time lucky for Conor.
Honestly, and do you know what? They've got the best of both worlds because as Shakira said, they started off as best friends and now they're going into lovers. So they really have built that foundation. So hey, it's looking up. It's looking up.
I agree. I think the whole friends to lovers thing, as long as there is enough sexual chemistry, is perfect.
Yasmin and Jamie, a very cute couple, if I do say so myself. She said that he is the golden retriever to her black cat.
I like that. And
That was a good little speech too.
Yeah, just so very Yasmin.
Yeah.
But she is also kind of black cat vibes because she's very just sort of like serious and
She's like Wednesday
poised
Addams.
And, you know?
Yeah.
You never know what's going to come out of her mouth, and I just find it so enticing. I think she's brilliant.
Yeah.
It was cute. I'm excited to see more of that.
We also had Billy Kiss and Boris. Now, Billy Kiss did mention in her speech, you know, she's willing to give it a second try because Boris did explain that, hey, sometimes I just don't feel like cuddling and I'm not sure why. Now, from personal experience, when someone doesn't feel like cuddling you, they want to be a friend.
Yeah.
So I'm not really sure, but where do we think this will leave Billy Kiss and Boris?
I think this will shock him into sort of stepping up
Do you
and
think
making
so?
more of an effort. Yeah,
Okay,
I do.
nice.
He knows he's got a great girl there and she's been honest. Again, she could have got up there in front of everyone else and she's been like, oh, it's been really lovely to getting to know them and, you know, I look forward to where it's going, like all the boring stuff we usually hear. But she stood on business.
Yeah.
And she said it in front of everyone. So now he's accountable to everyone in that villa to give it another go.
And you know what? Billy Kiss standing up and letting the whole entire villa know that, hey, by the way, Boris has not been, you know, pulling up his socks.
Yeah.
Do we think now that's going to give some of the maybe now single boys the kind of,
Yes.
Absolutely.
i.e. Cach,
Yeah.
like, hey, Billy Kiss is single now and also
100%.
Billy Kiss was in Cach's top 3. So that could maybe form into
I would
something
love to see
if it
that.
doesn't work.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think she's done it really well because it's not as if she's gone around planting little seeds of doubt and slagging him off around the villa. She's just gone, it's not been quite what I wanted for it to be. I'm willing to give it another try. I think Boris might pull his socks up and try. I do think that we've said once you know that that's not there, I personally don't think that's going to develop because they're both gorgeous people. So if there aren't sparks at this point, I don't think there are going to be any. But she's handled it really well.
Yeah.
And then finally, we have Emma and Cach, who coupled up as a friendship couple. Now, obviously, I wouldn't even say they were like best of friends from the start anyway. It was kind of collateral damage. But Emma's speech was really nice towards him. And it was, you know, hey.
It was. I feel like she's running out of compatibility options now.
Yeah.
But it is what it is, isn't it? It's what happens in a recoupling.
Yeah. Now, before we watched the episode last night, we spoke to our dumped Casa Amor-ians, Rheo, Yaz, Chris and Martin. So if there's any questionable predictions, you know why. Well, thank you to Rheo, Yaz, Martin and Chris for joining us today, fresh out of Casa Amor. Now, Chris, what was your highlight of your experience in Casa Amor?
There was loads of highlights. That time of the lads talking nonsense, conspiracy theories, dance routines, that kind of thing. That's obviously very fun, very memorable. I had loads of good chats with the girls, but they weren't really they weren't sparking, they weren't romantic, but grateful for the lads that I went in there with.
And how about you, Yasmin? What would you say is yours?
You know what? I would say it was meeting Rheo.
Aww.
From the day we met, when we walked in, we just got each other's energy, and she was holding my hand, and I remember saying to me, we're gonna get on us two. I'm so glad I've got you, she said, and I was like, yeah, me too. And we used to sneak off into the bathroom and debrief, and whenever we both needed a breather, we'd be with each other. So yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's a highlight.
Rheo, obviously, we can't not talk about Harry. You said on After Sun that you saw a deeper level to him. Now, we are very interested to know what this is.
No, he actually does have a deeper level. He's actually a really nice guy. I just don't think he can be a boyfriend. I think he'd be a great friend. We got to a deeper level because I feel like I speak like a therapist sometimes. So I was drawing stuff out of him that were quite deep, which I won't share obviously. But yeah, we did get quite close, which did shock me because I also didn't think he had that sort of depth. I just thought he'd always keep it at this sexual flirty banter level, but he actually did have something more down there.
Do you kind of maybe understand why now Helena is so attracted to him, and maybe why he had a 3-year relationship with Emma? Because from the outside, we're all like, what is happening?
Like I've said before, he is quite charming. I was saying all along, I'm wary of this guy. Sometimes his eyes glaze over and I'm like, I know you're lying. I can just see it. So sometimes it was hard to know if he was being genuine, but I do stand by that he is a nice guy.
When he talks, especially when he's saying stuff that he shouldn't be saying, he doesn't look at anyone. He just looks forward, no eye contact. It's almost as if he can be like, I wasn't saying that to you. I'm just saying it.
I think he disconnects because he knows he's doing something wrong. Him and Emma have been through so much. I know she's coached him into how to be in a relationship. He does know. For sure, she's outlined how to behave. He does just disconnect. He actually does just disappear.
So do you think, you believe the rumours of maybe Emma has come in for Harry?
Part of me thinks she hates him but loves him. So I don't think it's out of the question.
Martin, what about you? Who were your top 3 going in? And is there anyone that you wish you'd grafted harder?
In no particular order, my top 3 was probably Billy Kiss, Shakira and Yaz as well. And then obviously, out of those 3, I explored Billy Kiss. I think with Yaz, it was I had a conversation with her, got her, looked back, and then she's cracking on with Jane instantly. So instant spark. So I sort of just pushed that to the side as well. Everyone could see they clicked on instantly. With Shakira as well, it was just a bit more platonic. And then obviously, as you know, with Meg as well, that was sort of unexpected, but came out of the blue. I was trying to explore that area as well, but I don't think in the end she wanted to be swayed. Interestingly as well, we all said Emily would be someone we'd all want to go for, but we just couldn't see it happening. I just don't think it would happen. So even in hindsight, when I say, Emily, look, Tommy's not going to recouple with you, I still think she would have stood 10 toes down for Tommy.
Obviously, we're nearing the end of the series now. If we just go round, who do you see making it to the final? If you could pick one couple. Rheo?
I love Toni. I wanted to meet Toni so badly. She actually came running out into the dressing room when we were leaving, as we were doing our leaving shots, and gave me a big fat hug and was like, oh, you were amazing, you're beautiful. So I'm going to go for Toni and whoever she's with. I don't care who she's with.
Yasmin?
I feel like I'm going to say Shakira and Ty.
Exciting. And Martin?
I need Toni to lock in with Cach. I just need her to focus.
Yes.
Focus.
We agree. And Chris?
I think Yaz is being ambitious, saying Shakira and Ty. I don't see that happening. Me and Martin have always been on the same page about Cach and Toni, but I'm now starting to doubt that that's going to go the distance, which, obviously I wish it would, because Cach is a legend. Who is actually the strongest? Jamie and Yaz. So if it was a betting man, I would say those 2.
Thank you for joining us. It's been so lovely to chat to you, and we wish you all the best for the future.
Thank you very much.
Well,
guys, that's it for this morning. Jack, it's been short but sweet. Have you had a lovely time?
I've had such a nice time. Thank
That is
you.
good.
And thank you for my bottle.
We've loved having you, honestly.
I appreciate it. I guess I'm just going to love you and leave you.
Yeah.
But you are handing over to the other half of you, Ash Home.
Yeah, I am. The
yes.
quarter of my arm, my little angel. Yeah, we're basically the same person. So other than like the sound of our voice and the accent, I feel like you're just going to feel like it's the
same
person.
vibes. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to look out for First Look later on today on YouTube and all the Love Island socials. Send us your comments, send us your questions, and make sure you follow, like, and subscribe wherever you may be watching or listening to this podcast.
And we'll see you tomorrow morning.